Now, when you're doing this, you need to remember that this minus sign is part of the formula, and this minus sign is part of the number. So you have to put both of them down. If you don't, you're going to be wrong. So it's going to be 5 minus negative 3, which is the same as 5 plus 3, which is 8, and 1 plus 1, which is 2, which is equal to 4. And when you're graphing, you would put it as 4 over 1, because it's rise over run, but if not, you just leave it as a 4, and that is your answer. So now we're doing number 14, and it's a graph that kind of looks like that, right? You have to pick 2 points that are exactly in the intersection of the boxes. It has to be right in the intersection. So somebody tell me one point that goes right through the intersection. 1, 4 is correct. Some of them are really close if you look at some of these problems, so don't mess up. And what's another one?
Negative 1 and 0.
0, negative 1. You go left or right first, then up and down. And that would be your x1, y1, x2, y2. And so we have 4 minus negative 1 over 1 minus 0, and we get 5 over 1, which is 5.
Can't you also do the
So there's another way to do it. You've got rise over run is the other formula. So we start at this point right here, and we go up and over to get to this point right here. Well, how many spaces did we go up? We went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your rise is 5, and you went right 1. So your run is 1, so it's a 5 also. So if you do rise over run, it's still a 5. Okay, I always draw my graph to see if something's negative or positive. And I put a monkey on the left side, and he's a happy monkey, right? And I say to myself, if he sees a line going in this direction, and that's his ski slope, right? He can just jump on the ski lift and go down here and ski down. That's a positive day, a positive slope. But if he sees a mountain going up over his head like this, that's an avalanche. He's probably not going to make it, and that's a negative slope, okay? So whenever a line goes from left to right going down, it's a negative slope. And left to right going up is a positive slope. So when you're looking at something, you can look at it and know it's going to be negative, and if your numbers didn't give you a negative, then you can, that's like a second check, okay? Now let's talk about building a house in Kansas. What kind of land do you have in Kansas?
Tornadoes. Flat.
Flat, right? But I can buy that piece of property and build a beautiful house there, right?
Yeah, sure. Corn.
There's my house. What kind of slope do I have there?
Oh, gosh. 0.
Positive.
That's a 0 slope. A horizontal line has 0 slope. You can build a house on it, but you can't sleigh ride on it, right? Not without a Jeep and a chain. Got it? So you have 0 slope in the yard. Got it? That's how I remember it. Now let's think of a cliff. Can I build a house on that piece of property? No. You can't build a house, although my dad tried. I'll have to tell you about that someday. And you can't build a house, and I wouldn't sleigh ride on that either, because it wouldn't end well for you, right? So what kind of slope does a vertical line have? What does it say? Undefined. Got it? Now when you're figuring out slope that's 0 or undefined, there's going to be a 0 involved. Where is the 0 going to be if it's a 0 slope?
Or the
Where is it going to be in the fraction? Upstairs or down? If it's a 0 slope.
Down. Up.
Upstairs is going to be 0 and then let's say 0.7. Right? That's a 0 slope. If you put it in your calculator, 0 over 7, you get 0. But if I have a 0 in the basement, That is undefined. When you put that in your calculator, you're going to get an error message. And that is undefined slope. That means the line is vertical. Does everybody see that? I bought my first car in 1982. And it was a beautiful gray Pontiac Ventura, a 1976 Pontiac Ventura. Yeah, I went into the future. 1976 Pontiac Ventura with huge black racing stripes on the hood and the trunk.
Please tell
beautiful.
me you're not joking.
And it was burgundy in the inside, and the fabric on the roof was kind of hanging down, so it would hit my head, and when I got to school, when I was teaching, it would electrify my hair and it would be standing straight up. Okay, that's it. I bought that car for $2,000. It was back in the day when you could buy a car for $2,000, okay? I sold it in 1984, and they gave me $700 for it. Yes.
You only had a car for 2 years?
So they want to know the rate of change per year of the car, right? So all we do is we consider the time. O is the X and the value the Y. And here's X and Y. So I have a point of 1982, 2000, and 1984, 700. Now, what do you think this slope is going to be, positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative, because cars do what?
Depreciate.
They depreciate. They
Unless
lose
they get
value.
really old.
When do they start losing value?
Right.
Right when you take it off the
When you
line.
get
20,
20 miles.
50 feet or 50 seconds, whichever comes first when you buy it, okay? So the car is usually not a good investment unless you're a car enthusiast and you have big warehouses full of old cars. All right, so we have X1, Y1, X2, Y2. We have 2,000 minus 700 and 1982, 82 minus 1984. And that gives me 1,300 over -2, because it's going to be negative. We know it's going to be negative. So that's negative 650 over 1 is the rate of change. That means my car over time depreciated $650 a year. Okay?